Hello everybody and welcome back. What can we expect from Polygon? Well, today let's dive into it and take a look. And if you haven't already, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell for the latest notifications in cryptocurrency and the news to come. Alright guys, look, check it out. MATIC has been doing something kind of strange, right? So the last couple of trends that we had, honestly, were really kind of consolidating. It honestly told us, well, it's getting ready to make a run for it. When we're looking here from October, right, so you can see, honestly, it was a lot of red. It was going down, right? So, and it continued all the way up, honestly, until about the 20th of November. But what you did notice, if you've seen this, that the trend here, it started really consolidating over the course of a couple of days, right? So those candles, and even the volumes actually started to rise up here versus where in that time frame it was not going up, which was really signifying that it was about to actually reverse, right? So it was about to make a market change. So in that being the case, it actually became to be pretty healthy. It actually made a pretty healthy trend, right? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, so we had what a good trend line, what a retracement, a good trend line, a retracement, a good trend line, and it seems honestly that it's still going up. Now, however, given that the last couple of days, right, when we're speaking on like the 12th, right, or the 11th here, and the 10th, right, it started pretty strong, but it just couldn't actually cut through. Now, it is showing signs of strength that it actually could jump out. Now, today, as we're speaking, like right this moment, Polygon's sitting about at $2.11, right? Still pretty good, and I can expect this to continue. The most that I would expect, honestly, is a good retraction a little bit. Maybe it could start to go into a range. Because, why do I think it could actually start to kind of go off into a range? Is because this retracement right here, this candle, this little ugly red candle, actually is starting to get bigger when we compare them to the other retracements that's coming up on the market. The same here. If you notice, like the bigger the green candles got as we were coming down up until this point, right, it started showing that it's going to reverse. So what we could have, because that is bigger, I'm thinking, honestly, people are going to buy back into this, and considering that today is only starting, but it's going to, I think it's going to have some sideways action. It's going to enter that range for a little bit, and then actually start to build up some consolidation. So I think it's actually preparing to make another run for it, which is still pretty great, because when we really look at the chart, right, it's still doing fantastic, right? So we're still kind of like barely breaking even over that last high that we had, that last all-time high. Well, it was sitting at 244. Can't really see. 244 to something like that, 245. And when it came up the other day, it was like 242. So it just barely missed shy of actually breaking. Of course, people really wanted to make some profit from that kind of jumping in. I've been kind of keeping an eye for a bull flag throughout the chart recently to see how far it's going to go. I haven't quite caught it yet. So it's still just not there yet, but I still think it's going to come up even with some sideways action. I think it's really preparing for it to take a takeoff here soon. In the next couple of days and weeks to come, I think we're going to see something like that. Now, looking at this candle too, for the weekly, it looks pretty good, right? So, I mean, it started off, it closed at the low at 205, 209. So it's still doing pretty good for the weekly. It's actually still doing fantastic. The selling volume is really, really good. The buying and the selling, the volume all together is pretty good. Even when we look at the averages kind of together, we're going to be able to see a few things here. I want to go back to the daily for that. I love to check out the daily with the moving averages. You can see, honestly, it's a good time to buy into this dip. You can see compared to the 30 and 90-day moving averages, people that bought into this actually made some money, right? So we're pretty far away into it. It's not exactly a good time to buy in, but it's a good point to make a stop loss. It's so far in. So if you put a stop loss at about $1.90, I think it's pretty good. But as far as buying in, you actually had that point right around here in November. That was a good time to buy in for Polygon, and I think it's still a good time a little bit later, and you're going to see that too. So it's definitely going to rise. I believe it's going to pump up pretty soon. So keep an eye on that one. Looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still going down. Not the greatest, right? But no. So today it's sitting at 48. We broke above 50K. The 7th, we got right at over 50K, but it's still going down. I want to take a look at the fib So let's take a look at this, right? So just to give a quick look. So taking a look here, it's not probably going to be exactly what we want to see, right? But I do want to take a look. All right, 2.5, right? So we're kind of going down now, and it's not the hottest look, but it is kind of coming back down. So I think it will come back up. It's starting to show signs. It is kind of what you can see. It's kind of honestly kind of consolidating a little bit too to kind of make another run for it. But if you're looking like right here, this looks like honestly like a bull flag, like it's going to continue, especially even when we're speaking like back in September. It gave us a heads up for the bull flag. But when we're coming down, we definitely don't want a bear flag, right? So keep an eye on Bitcoin when we're looking at the weekly as well. The weekly is pretty ugly, right? So the weekly is just a nightmare. So we can't really say too much for that. But it's just ugly. But I think it's going to go back up pretty soon too. I think it's going to build here in the upcoming weeks. So I think we're going to get back to 50, 55, 56K, potentially by February or so. So it's like mid December already, right? So by January, it should be pretty solid into the 50Ks, right? Without giving you too much worry. Looking at Ethereum, right? Ethereum is kind of like moving with that sideways action as well. We kind of have, you can see this line where we're just kind of like still in that range too. So we had that little resistance kind of like coming off right here. Or coming down, not resistance, I'm sorry, support. That new line of support kind of banging off right here, but and it's still trying to break through, right? It's still trying. And I think it's going to go back up too as well, but it's still all in all pretty healthy when we're looking at Ethereum, right? So don't expect it to be like perfect. Now it's not like how it was like just like back in October, for example, right? So trend line, while retracement, trend, and then we had a little bit of like what's going on here, right? But all in all, it was pretty healthy, except for this candle pretty signified that it was about to start going down as well. But still, even here, it's still pretty healthy. But the thing that I noticed too with Ethereum and with this candle, right? So you can see it was actually getting momentum, like between like 18th of November, right? And then we had the 26th, right? It started actually getting some strength. But as we're speaking, like by the 1st of December, it started to kind of like really lose a little bit of strength and then like pound back up. But I think it's starting to lose some strength into it slowly. But what's really good about this is that the volume's still high. So people are still active in the Ethereum market pretty good, and that's actually a really good sign. Now we do want to see more, of course, we want to see the power shift from the sellers to the buyers. And it's kind of like this fight right now in between, and that's what you're seeing, right? So as you're looking at the chart, it's just a complete struggle for power. So that's what we have for Ethereum as well. And let's take a look. All right. Terra Luna too, also kind of changing up momentum here as well, but still a struggle. Still a struggle with Terra Luna. So Terra Luna is sitting today at about 877. Of course, it is minus, but it is getting some strength. So it's just a little bit of a retracement. Don't panic just yet. But all in all, it looks like the buyer power is starting to buy into it, and it's still stronger, as you can see. So it's starting to build momentum. So I think it's just going to continue to go up from here. So nothing to really panic about. I think it's a really great coin to focus into. Moreover, looking at the weekly for Luna as well, not so hot, but still the same. It's just a typical trend, a downtrend, and that's what's happening. So again, but it's still pretty healthy. But you can see like right around in this area, it's starting to switch over. The same even for the weekly. So that's what we want to see more of. And as long as we can kind of get over, like Terra Luna, in August, it did pretty great. It did actually not just pretty good. It did fantastic. So I would expect it to continue going up. This is a trend that's always around, as well. As you can see, like right here is that same kind of trend that we had right here before it actually jumped up. as well. And the same here. See how healthy that is? Look. Honestly, that's very beautiful, and that was very, very good. It continued going up, but we do see it a little bit in a different light, right? But the only thing is starting to make this M pattern, right? This like head and shoulders type deal, and that makes me a little bit worried. But all in all, it still looks pretty good, right? So that's definitely what we want. All right. Litecoin. Litecoin too is starting to not look too great, but all in all, I think it can potentially. So we do see in volume that the seller is also it's just losing volume, and that's a little concerning for Litecoin. Just the fact that it's losing volume, and that makes me very nervous because we need, honestly, you want to. You want higher volume. That's where you're making your money at. High volume. You definitely want high volume. Of course, we don't want it in high selling volume, but we want high, like at least a good healthy 50-50 here, right? So we had this moment too, and that's what we're looking out for these two. You can see it's starting to like wanting to range out a little bit, not so much more of a retracement and trend line, but it's what we have. So not too bad, but I think it can still continue to go a little bit into this range a little bit longer. So by December, I think it's going to actually start making a good little run. So keep an eye out for Litecoin as well. All right, taking a look at the market and good little market overview, right? So as we're sitting today, Bitcoin is at 0.09 plus for the 24-hour period, 0.78 for the weekly, still recovering, still fighting it off, right? Fighting them demons. Ethereum for the week is up by 5.36. Binance for the week is up by 6.19%, but 1.83 down for the daily. Tether struggling in by 0.06 for the day, 0.04 for the week, just kind of like hanging out. Solana too is down by 9.90% for the weekly and 4.34% for the daily. Now this thing about Solana, everybody's waiting for Solana to like really just take off and just completely run for it. But the thing about Solana is, guys, is that it's a long-term coin. Now, it's not something you're just going to buy into today and then next month you're just going to be sitting on millions. It's not really one of those kind of coins that's really going to make you rich right now. But if you kind of hodl onto it a little bit, it will eventually start to pick up momentum. I think here in the future, we're going to expect some really good gains from Solana. So just kind of throwing that out there. Cardano, yeah, it's completely trashed out. Don't expect big things from Cardano. Everybody, a lot of enthusiasts for Cardano. I see this all the time, especially from other influencers. But honestly, the market is showing you exactly that it's finished. So, I mean, we're talking about like right now, $1.25, where it was like just a couple of months ago, $3. It's done. It's finished. It's not going back up. They're promising something that they're not going to deliver, and that's only from the history of it. So, hate me, comment, drop me, let me know what you think. Tell me if you agree with me or not. I'll be more than happy to oblige you. Polkadot here also is doing pretty good. We spoke about this coin as well. You should definitely kind of watch out for Polkadot at 3.34% for the daily and 0.67 in the weekly. AVAX is doing pretty bad. AVAX right now is 7.92% and negative 8.21 for the week. Not the greatest, but hey, it is part of it. Now, Polygon, we were just speaking about that, right? So it is plus 12, almost 13% for the weekly. Keep an eye out for this one. Now, for the daily, of course, it's not so hot, but 3.57. But I think it's going to really start making some serious moves. So this is something you can really expect for them to move. And it's not just, it's data backed. It's not like it's just like, oh, guess what? We think, we hope, we pray. It's data backed. So follow that up. Look at it for yourself. And I think these, honestly, all of these coins that here are down below, and the further you get, I think these coins are really starting to get bought into. Like once you get like to 43, the 50, you can see like double digits, right? Like 25%, right? 18% as well, 45 for BitTorrent even for the weekly, 27 for Loopring. So you're going to see a lot of these coins really start to pick up too as well. So Bitcoin SV is also up by 30% for the weekly. So you're going to really start seeing these coins pick up as well as people are just like on a buying frenzy right now. Now they're a little bit worried. They're a little bit shocked, put back because of this recent market crash. All right, guys, hit the bell, subscribe, drop a comment, and I will see you next time.